Hello everyone, this is Susan from Susan Hiles Art, and today I want to share with you my thought process and what I've pulled out for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 3, which is geared around flowers. Um, so my mind has been everywhere. I don't know, I've gone through so many different scenarios, but I think because of Sarah, so Sarah is Rachel's sister, right? And they host the collaboration together. And she suggested something that really did it for me. So I'm kind of excited. So I had commented on Sarah's prompt reveal video, and I was like, I'm not an experienced embroiderer, so I said I'm a little lost with the flowers. I don't know what to do, and she said, "Well, check out Pinterest." And I haven't been on Pinterest in years. I don't use Pinterest, so I just uploaded the app again. And look at this. So tell me this isn't inspiring. So, I mean, when I look at something like this, and if you, I don't want it to get blurry, if you break it down by each flower or greenery that's on here, I think I might be able to do it. Like, I don't know, like these little white flowers, maybe they are French knots. I don't know, but otherwise it is probably back stitching and some feather stitches and some lazy daisy, it looks like. I'm thinking, I mean, I wouldn't even try to do something this fantastic, but I could do something like this. So it has kind of changed my whole thought process. And I've been putting a lot of thought into this, but let me share with you. I don't even know where to begin. I have a bunch of stuff out. Let me share with you first of all. So I have made two snippet rolls in the past, and I have them both hanging on my wall. So this one, they're both the same length. They're about, I don't know, 18 inches or so. And I had a ball. This was the first one that I ever did right here. And I just hang it on my wall with a little dowel on here, and I just hang it up. My other one is hung up with a push pin, believe it or not. So I don't want to take it off my wall, but hopefully I'll remember, and I'll just kind of put a little picture or a quick little video right here of it. So making a snippet roll isn't new. I've never like put one on a spool or anything like that, because I figure if I'm going to make something and spend a lot of time on it, I want to really be able to see it. So I know that my snippet roll is going to go on the wall, and I know I want it vertical, which I've said for weeks now. So like that part I knew. So once they announced it, and had the snippet roll, I'm like, well, I'm not going to do a roll on a spool like I said, but I will make one and do it vertically, just actually like the two are that I currently have, except bigger. Knowing that, I went through my fabrics to see, well, what am I going to sew on? And I have this, this is kind of like a canvas really fabric, but it's soft. It's very soft, but it's heavy. It's fairly heavy, and I love it. So I'm going to take this long piece, and I'm going to tear it probably in half. lengthwise. So once I have it torn in half lengthwise, which we can actually do right now. So let's do that. I'm going to just fold it in half. So I just folded it in half. I'm going to go ahead and give it a head start over here with just cutting an inch or so. And now I'm going to tear it. So that easy, right? So now I have the two pieces of fabric for my snippet roll. Knowing that, you know, this is a six-month project, but you can have two, I'm going to say blocks, even though I'm not really doing it that way, but like 2 sections per month. Or like Rachel and Sarah suggested, you can go and you can do more than one prompt in an area. So like the first one is wildflowers. So once I make the wildflower section, and you'll see why I say section in a minute, but once I do that, and then say, you know, in a month or two, they come up with another flower that would look pretty with my wildflowers, I just might come back to this area and stitch those, that second prompt along with the first prompt of wildflowers. So now we have this. So this is super cool. This piece of fabric keeps sticking. I will probably put this hem up on the top, which means that I'll put this hem probably on the bottom, and they're going to end up being stitched here. Now, I'm not going to do that now because, you know, I don't need all that fabric. I don't need to move that fabric around all the time. I'm going to keep it easier for myself and work on this. So let's see how wide this is. Where's my ruler? Sorry, I have a bunch of rulers and I can't grab one of them. Okay, so this is, just so that you know, not that it, you know, it is about 5 3/4 inches or 14 centimeters. Before I get to what is underneath here, in fact, let me move this. Let me share with you what I want to do on this. First thing I'll probably do is iron it, but once I do that, you know, as I was looking for the fabric and just through my stash to see what I have and what I can pull out, I came across these beautiful laces, and I hoard them. I love them, but I hoard them. So I'm like, you know what? This is a great opportunity to use them. So for example, this is kind of what I have in my head right now. And as always, you know, I'll see what really happens. Sorry, I'm moving stuff out of the way. So what I thought I could do is, like, I'm just going to leave the background the color that it is. It's perfect. It'll be perfect to have flowers on that background because, well, it's a light color. But I'm going to put a piece of this lace, all the different ones, and I pulled out the ones that have flowers on them, and I'm going to sew them onto this piece of fabric. So I'm just going to go down and sew all the pieces on, right? And even when it comes to like the darker pieces, I'm gonna, right now my plan is to, you know, use a piece from all of these different laces. And I mean, look at how gorgeous that is, right? And then I have this beautiful pink one. But what I liked about these was, well, first of all, that they have flowers on them, but also the width of them. They're big, obviously, right? They're big. And you know, some bigger than others. So like this one here is a little bit smaller. But I liked the fact that because this was going to be a long piece of fabric, that I could utilize these wide laces. So that is my plan. That I know I'm going to do that. Yeah, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy, like I said, to use up these gorgeous, gorgeous pieces that I have. But I thought maybe I would use this to keep it really, like to keep the background neutral. You know, I don't know if like for this green piece, if that makes sense to use something this light, but I like that it kind of matches this this fabric. You know, it's very similar in color. So that's what I'm thinking. So to get the lace on, I'm thinking I'm going to use this. And again, that's going to help the flowers to pop, because for the flowers, I'll be using a lot of green and a lot of other colors. But then there is the whole thing with the path, right? So you can, or you don't have to, but you can sew a path onto your snippet roll. So what I decided to do was I'm going to kind of make that secondary. And once I have some of these done, then I'm going to see if there's a way I can incorporate maybe, you know, a path on here. And what I thought I would do is try to utilize these scrap pieces for the path. So that's part of my thought process. Not sure that that will happen, but that would be great, right? To use up some of those scraps. But now, so that's the base of the snippet roll. But now, and I showed you that I'm going to try to embroider the flowers onto the snippet roll. But I don't think I'll always embroider every time. Like, I don't know that I can do that twice a month, because I think it's going to take me a while to do, because again, I'm not an embroiderer. I am a slow stitcher, which to me is a very different thing. But I do have buttons out. I was thinking on the path, using those scraps and maybe putting buttons along the way, almost like stepping stones. So I thought that. And I pulled out, let me grab this stuff over here, give me a second. I pulled out some things from my stash that I can utilize if need be. Yeah, obviously you can use these to make flowers as well. They make a really nice flower. I've done that before. So if I get really, really, really stuck or overwhelmed, maybe I'll use a yo-yo for one of the prompts and kind of do that, because that to me would be easy. I also have this kit right here, and you know, it has some pretty already embroidered pieces in it, like this orange flower right here. So I thought maybe I could even pull that in, or even if it was something like this piece right here, I could use that, especially on a week or on a prompt that I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I don't, you know, I just want to have these options. Or what I can do, like I have no problem skipping a prompt. I did that for the volume 2. It was more around because, well, I really didn't, I don't know, I wasn't feeling the prompt, so I didn't want to force it, and that was the Nutcracker. So like I never did that in my Christmas journal. But yeah, so I pulled out things like this, like it has, you know, the pretty flowers on it. So I have a couple of those. I have this little flower right here if need be, you know, a cute little flower like this. And you know, these are right here linen napkins that I got from thrift store. I happen to have this piece of fabric. It was really a Christmas piece of fabric, but I love it so much. I thought I could even, you know, like cut some of this out and use it that way on there. So in my head, it's like, do I want to stick with just embroidery so it looks uniform, or do I want it more eclectic to where I sometimes have something like this and I sometimes have something like this and something like this, right? They're very different. So I have to figure that out. I kind of lean towards eclectic because I don't know, I like lots of colors, I like lots of patterns. I like that. But we'll see. I could even like cut out something like this down here. This is a sampler from something. So I could use that or that and sew them on. I have these beautiful curtains with these beautiful, you know, embroidered by machine, I'm sure. Flowers and leaves. There's even a bird. So I have that. And then I have this. This I tea dyed. It is not dirty. This is something that I tea dyed. I think this one was one that my grandmother had done, probably, I don't know, I'm going to say at least 80 years ago. But I could cut it and also use it on this project. And let me share with you my sewing kit. Now, if you haven't checked out Linda from Linny P's Place, I'll put her link below. She has a YouTube channel, and she is going to be using a sewing box, a sewing basket, whatever you call it. I call it a kit. I don't know why, but she's going to use one to put her pieces in that, you know, she's going to use for this project, and she's going to put, you know, her stash in hers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I bought this one. It's not that big. It's basically a square, and it is 25 centimeters, or almost basically 10 inches. So I'm going to use this. Hers is much bigger. She was able to put like a whole lot of stuff in it. But I'm like, I bought this and I never used it. It's been sitting on my floor for months. So I'm like, well, I told Linda, I'm like, well, I'm going to steal your idea. And I'm going to put stuff in this basket for this project as well. Now, I could put a few more things in here, but I wanted to keep them out to share with you. But what I do have in here, I will show you. So I have this little plastic bin. I have little floral things in here. So I have some laces, you know, some small lace, all different colors with flowers on them. And so I pulled those out. Even something like this is super pretty, right? Then I have some more over here. I mean, look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? It's like I have to somehow incorporate this on there. It's a beautiful piece of lace. I even pulled out some eyelet trims and stuff because, well, I love eyelet, and it has flowers. So I would want to try to incorporate maybe some of these. Like, look at these pieces. Aren't they amazing? Aren't they amazing? Like, look at this. My thought process is I want to have enough options to change things up and to have more to select from. Now, I did all this stuff before I ever looked at Pinterest, but I still am going to leave all this stuff out. So in here I have, I mean, think about the paper flowers if you're a paper crafter, like these are Prima. I'm pretty sure these are Prima. If they're not Prima, you know, Prima makes these kind of flowers. A lot of companies do. They're very dimensional, but since I'm going to be hanging this on my wall, it doesn't matter. I could use these. So if there's a prompt for roses, maybe I'll use these, right? Like how pretty. I have multiple sizes and colors. So think about what you have in your, I'm going to call it your paper stash, because I'm sure you have some sort of flowers, right? But in here I even have these. I have the little doilies that you can use. I have stuff like this with the little pearl in the middle. So I have, you know, even like these smaller doilies, stuff like that. This flower I made many, many years ago. I made that one. And then there's like the florets and the bigger ones. There's a lot. There's a lot of options that I could go with here. And it feels good to me to have them out and visual, to where if I decide that I want to use, you know, one or more of these things, that I can and I will. And yep, so I have those. Now these go into a little organizer, both of these drawers, but I just pulled the drawers out. They fit in here perfectly. I'm like, that's perfect. You know, I don't need to take them out of there. I have two more bins in here. I have this little bin. It's right for photographs. It's a photo case from made by Iris. I'm sure I probably got it at Michael's. And I have more flowers. So I have more dimensional flowers. I have, I want to say this is, you know, I don't know. I don't know the brand name, but I have all different kinds of flowers. Some very flat, some semi-dimensional, some are very dimensional. So I have those out, and I like them as an option. And then one thing that Linda from Linny P's Place pulled out was her silk ribbon. And I have a nice selection of them. I have the 4mm and 2mm. And I'm like, I love using this stuff. And I know that it can make a beautiful like bud for a flower. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I didn't even think of it until I saw Linda's video. I'm gonna link that exact video below in my description box so that you can see what she did with her sewing kit. And until I watched her video, I was really at a loss. But now, after Sarah suggesting Pinterest and watching Linda's video, yeah, it just somehow is all coming together for me. And I'm feeling it. I am definitely feeling it, and I feel good about it. I think for like the first time, I feel like I can actually do this. And that's it. That is it. So next Wednesday, I'm going to come back on, and I will have already started the snippet roll, and I'm sure we'll do some sewing together. And yeah, so every Wednesday I put out a video for this project on, you know, now volume 3. And so hopefully you'll come back and watch some more videos. And you know, we all do things very differently, and I think that that is a good thing, because I learn from so many people over on the Facebook group. And you know, even if somebody got one little idea from me because they maybe never thought of it, well then yay, you know, that's a good thing. And yeah, because I love learning new things. And this is definitely a challenge for me. I have no problem sewing the snippet roll and putting the lace on it. It's the embroidered flowers that are the challenge for me. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to at least start with that thought process. So I think I finally figured it out. I do. I do. I do. Okay, so that's it. So be sure to check out Rachel and Sarah. I will have their links below. And yeah, so here we go. Yay, I'm excited. All right, thanks everybody for being here and have a wonderfully blessed rest of your week. All right, bye-bye.